Hey friends, this is Miss Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead, and today I'm canning mixed vegetables from my garden. This is a dish pan, and it is loaded. These are all the tomatoes from my garden that I threw in the freezer. Look at the little eye in the circle above here if you want to see how I rapid peel frozen tomatoes. But I'm going to get peeling and then we'll move on. Here's that dish pan of tomatoes. It's already cooking down. I'm using a double boiler. I'm using a canner with a rack in the bottom. And I'm going to let these cook down before I start adding more veg. Okay, now this is still pretty liquidy and I want it to cook it down at least half more, so that when I put the vegetables in it and they start to cook, they're going to give off water too, so we don't want it to be too runny. My immersion blender died. I had to use the Ninja. Okay, these are the garden vegetables that are going into my garden tomatoes. We've got a few little tiny cloves of garlic. My garlic did not do well. We have 4 nice big red peppers. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 onions from the garden, 2 big beautiful leeks, and 3 zucchini. I also have several bunches of celery from the garden. So I'm going to chop these all and then give them a rinse, and then I'll decide, because I don't think these are going to fit in that stock pot. So I may oven roast them separately. Here is our zucchini and our peppers all washed and in the roasting pan. And now I'm working on the onions. These are from my garden. Everything going into this particular recipe is from my garden. Oh, and they're pungent. My eyes are starting to water. All right, there's the onions. I'm gonna go over and rinse these and throw them in the roasting pan. Now, I didn't get much garlic from the garden, but what I did, I'm just gonna throw right in the roasting pan because I'm not gonna waste it. Let's get working on our leeks. And for everybody who's gonna tell me to save the roots and plant them, no, I just don't go there. I just do this to make sure they're nice and clean on the inside. Now this roasting pan may look really full, and it is, but this will cook down. So it's okay to heap it up, right? And all we got left after this is the celery. So I have a bucket over here for my compost. Oh, I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Don't ever think you don't have enough of one thing in your garden to make something amazing when they're combined. All right, now let's have a look at our celery, because this has like holes in it that it's been chewed on. No good. I should have pulled all this celery up and canned it weeks ago, or at least a week ago. But we do what we can when we can, right? All right, let's get these washed, and then we'll get everything in the roasting pan and in the oven. Now I know this looks like it's going to overflow. And you would almost be right, but it's really not going to, guys. So now, I'm just going to take a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I use pickling salt because there's no additives. Alright, so this is going into a 300-degree oven for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on when it's like nice, you know, that they're going to be cooked. And then we'll be back. Here's my canner with the recommended amount of water and a shot of white vinegar to keep the jars from clouding. Lids, lid inserts. Here's the leftover stewed tomatoes. I'll be putting them in the jar first and topping up with this. This is so liquidy, there will be no debubbling required. Alright, so here we go. Now I put salt in the vegetables, so I'm not going to, well actually I might add just a little bit more pickling salt. Just a little more pickling salt in here. I use pickling salt because it has no additives. So this whole roasting pan will probably have maybe 3 tablespoons of salt in it. And I can't find my big measuring cup, although I have my suspicions of where it is. But first, I'm going to start with a scoop of my tomatoes because I got lots. And my neighbor, God bless them, Jimmy and Judy, just dropped by with a 4-gallon pail more of tomatoes, so I've got more canning to do. Now this is not necessarily this is not necessarily a spaghetti sauce. This is garden vegetable medley. That's what I'm calling it. Why? Because it's just all my stewed garden vegetables, everything but the beans. Always, always, always wipe your rims and your threads. Clean damp lid. And into the canner that goes. Here we have 7 1-liter jars of my garden vegetable medley, and it looks like I'm going to have at least 4 more. So we're going to get our lid on here, and as soon as this starts to spout a steady stream of steam, I will set a timer and it will vent for 10 minutes. This is really important because the venting process pushes the air out of the canner and creates the proper vacuum and pressure that you need to cook low acid to can low acid vegetables. All right, I'm going to put the lid back on the roasting pan, and when this is done, I'll load up another. Okay, our timer has gone off. So we will be setting on our 10-pound weight. Make sure you check your manufacturer's directions, folks, because if you live 1,000, this is not the one I want to put on here. Make sure you check your manufacturer's directions, folks, because if you live 1,000 feet or more above sea level, your weights and pressure canning times may change. Now, as soon as I get that first vigorous jiggle, I am going to, now I've had my first vigorous jiggle, and I'm going to turn this down just a little bit until I get that nice gentle rocking motion. And then I'm going to set my timer. Our timer has gone off, so we're just going to shut off the canner and let it cool naturally. Now remember, folks, part of the canning process is allowing the canner to cool down naturally. Don't jiggle the weight, don't immerse it in cold water, don't wrap it in wet towels, and for God's sakes, do not try and open it until you can comfortably rest your hands on the side of the canner.